Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss about some basic concepts of chemistry. That is the very first chapter. Earlier we have studied about its basic introduction where we have seen that the basic physical classification of matter, that is solid, liquid and gas, then the chemical classification of matter where we have seen that they are pure substances and mixture. In the category mixture we have seen that there is homogeneous mixture and heterogeneous mixture, and in the category there pure substance we have seen about the elements and compound, and in compound we have seen that they are basically inorganic compounds and organic compounds. Okay, now coming to the second part of the chapter, that is here we will discuss about the law of conservation of mass. So let us begin. Students, our topic is law of chemical combination. Okay, from the very first law is law of conservation of mass. Our topic will be the law of chemical combination. Students, what happened basically, the most important aspect of the chemistry is that it is basically the study of chemical reaction. Okay, so basically what happened, the chemical reaction take place according to certain laws. Okay, and the laws of chemical combination are given here. Okay, these laws are as following. The very first law is the law of conservation of mass. The second law is law of constant composition. The third law is law of multiple proportion. The fourth law is law of reciprocal proportion, and the fifth law is law of combining volume. Students, among these five laws, the above four laws deals with mass relationship. Okay, what I am saying, these laws, the above four laws deal with mass relationship. Okay, but the last law you can see here in the name, the law of combining volume, or it is also assumed as Gay-Lussac's law of gases or volume. Okay, so this fifth law deals with the volume of the reacting gases. Okay, now students, let us discuss each of them clearly. So coming to the very first, that is law of conservation of mass. You are very well familiar with this law in your 9th classes also, in your 10th classes also. So basically these laws were studied by great French chemist Antoine Lavoisier, okay, in the year 1789. And basically this law states that in all physical and chemical change, the total mass of reactant is equal to that of total mass of product. What it means to say, the very well known fact about the law of conservation of mass, which you know earlier also, that is the matter can neither be created nor destroyed. But what this sentence want to say, that in all physical and chemical change, for this you have to assume a physical and a chemical change. Suppose we are taking the example of physical change where we are converting ice into water via heating. Okay, so what basically happen in this reaction, when you will weigh the ice, and after the reaction when heating, when you will weigh the water, then what happen, the masses will remain the same. That is the mass of the reactants, that is ice, and the mass of product, that is water, will remain same. This is what matter can be neither created nor destroyed. Now students, you can see the same here in the example talking about the physical change, that is of ice converting into water. Now talking about the chemical change. Okay, for this a scientist Landolt took solution of sodium chloride and silver nitrate. He took the solution of sodium chloride, that is NaCl, and silver nitrate, that is AgNO3. Okay, and what he does, he take them separately in a two limbs of Landolt's tube. Okay, there was a apparatus called Landolt's tube where he has taken the two solutions separately. The tube was basically H-shaped tube. Okay, and here in the very first he has taken NaCl, and in the second he has taken AgNO3. Then he cogged up the tube and weighed the solutions. Okay, after this what happened, he mixed the solution, and after mixing, a Kurdi precipitate of silver chloride was formed. Then after the reaction, again he weighed the solution. Then what happened, again the weight was practically remained unchanged. That is, the weight that is before the reaction and the weight that is after the reaction, that is the mass of reactant and the mass of product are remain the same. So this is what the law of conservation of mass. Students, basically it can be asked directly, that is define law of conservation of mass, or application based question must be raised. So that is, the question may be asked, it will be given some data and ask you that show that these results illustrate the law of conservation of mass. So for this you can see this calculation. Here it is given that 4.90 gram of KClO3 when heated produce 1.92 gram of oxygen and residue potassium chloride left behind, that is weighing 2.96 gram. So basically it is saying that the total mass of the product is 2.96 plus 1.92, that is 4.88 gram. Okay, and the final product is 4.90 gram. So basically if we will differentiate between the two, we will find that 0.02 gram of difference is there. So this the difference is assumed as experimental error, but taking it as the error, we can say that the above result illustrate the law of conservation of mass. Okay, now students, coming to the second law, that is law of definite proportion. Okay, that is law of definite proportion, or you can say constant proportion. Here basically what happens, this law was discovered by French chemist J.L. Proust in 1799, and it basically deals with the composition of element present in given compound. Okay, we have to consider a single compound and we have to see the composition of the element. Basically it is stated as a chemical compound is always found to be made of some same element combined together in same fixed proportion. You have to pay attention here, that is the element combined is in same fixed proportion by mass. What I am saying, what the statement is saying, just consider example. Suppose we are taking the example of water, pure water, and we are taking it from many sources like from well, from river, from lake, or from sea, from any country, that may be India, Russia, America. So what we will see that the compound will be made up of only hydrogen and oxygen element, and the composition will be they combine together in the proportion or same fixed ratio, that is 1:8 by mass. Okay, so H2O will be of 1:8 by mass. Okay, now students, talking about the very second example, suppose we are preparing carbon dioxide, okay, in laboratory by any means. Suppose we are just heating the limestone, it also releases carbon dioxide. Suppose we are burning coke in presence of air, it also releases carbon dioxide. Suppose there is we are seeing the action of acid on limestone, then also carbon dioxide is formed. So if we will see each of them, then what basic property is there, that the ratio of C:2O, that is carbon to oxygen, will remain the same in all the three, that is 12:32. So this is about the law of definite proportion. Students, here also application based question may be asked, that is here in the table it is a question, it is asked that 6.488 gram of lead combined directly with 1.002 gram of oxygen to form lead peroxide, that is PbO2. Okay, and what it is given that lead peroxide is also prepared by heating lead nitrate. Again, the second reaction is there where lead peroxide is obtained by reacting lead nitrate, and it was found that the percentage of oxygen present in lead peroxide is 13.38%. Okay, question is also giving the hint about the percentage of oxygen, that is 13.38%. so when you are going to solve these type of question, you have to basically calculate the percentage of a fixed proportion, that is here we are taking the percentage of oxygen in first experiment. So in the first experiment it is given that the mass of peroxide is 6.488 gram and it is combining with 1.002 gram of oxygen. So basically overall amount will be 7.490 gram. Okay, and as 7.490 gram of lead peroxide contains 1.002 gram of oxygen, then we can conclude from here that 100 gram of lead peroxide will contain about 13.38 gram of oxygen. And we have to just compare here, you have to write compare. So comparing the percentage of oxygen in both the experiment, what we will see that the percentage of oxygen in first experiment is also 13.38%, in second experiment it is also 13.38%. so from here we can conclude that the percentage composition of oxygen in both the experiment is 13.38%, and hence the above data illustrate the law of constant proportion. Okay, now coming to the third law, that is law of multiple proportion. Students, this law was first studied by Dalton in 1804. Okay, and it may be defined as follows, that is when two elements combine to form two or more chemical compounds, then the masses of one of the element which combine with a fixed mass of the other bear a simple ratio. Here we have to talk about the simple ratio of the compounds that are formed by two elements or more than two elements that are combined to form two or more than two type of chemical compound. Basically don't panic about these type of laws, because basically it is saying that suppose a condition where the compound is of carbon and oxygen, and basically the compound, suppose we are taking carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Okay, in both the two you can see the carbon is 12 part by mass and oxygen is 32 part by mass, and in case of carbon monoxide, carbon is 12 part by mass and oxygen is 16 part by mass. Okay, so in carbon dioxide 12 part of carbon combined with 32 part of oxygen, and in carbon monoxide 12 part of carbon is combined with 16 part mass of oxygen. So from here we can conclude that the masses of oxygen which combine with fixed mass of carbon, that is 12 part, so we are fixing the mass of carbon as 12 part, so the ratio will be simply 16:32, or we can say 1:2. Okay, so this is about the law of multiple proportion. You can also understood this law by seeing the another example. Actually the page is not taken. Suppose we are taking another example where we are taking the compound of nitrogen and oxygen. Okay, so basically student, we have to consider 4 to 5 compounds of nitrogen, where we can see, suppose the very first list is of compound. Okay, and the compound is, suppose very first compound is nitrous oxide, that is N2O. The second compound is nitric oxide, that is NO. The third compound is nitrogen trioxide, that is N2O3, and so on. Nitrogen tetraoxide, that is N2O4, and then nitrogen pentaoxide, that is N2O5. Okay, so this is the first table where compound is listed, and here we have to list about their masses, nitrogen, and here is the oxygen. So in the very first, nitrogen is 28 by part, oxygen is 14 part by mass, then again nitrogen will be 28, 28 and 28. Okay, and talking about oxygen, it will be in the very first 16 part by mass, again it will be 16 part by mass, then it will be 48 part by mass, and then it will be 64 part by mass, and again it will be 80 part by mass. Now students, considering this condition, if we are fixing the mass of nitrogen as 14 part the masses of oxygen in this oxides will become 8, 16, 24, 32 and 14. Okay, and so on. So respectively, if we talk about the ratio will simply become 1 is to 2 is to 3 is to 4 is to 5. Okay, and this fulfills the statement that is the chemical compound is always found to be made up of same element combined together in same fixed proportion. Okay, so the proportion is same. Now students, this is all about today's lecture, where we have discussed about the basic laws of chemical combination, in which we have seen the law of conservation of mass, then we have seen the law of constant composition, then we have seen the law of multiple proportion, and about these two laws we will discuss later. Okay, so thank you class.